Hey everyone, welcome to the sizzling summer series of the Just Get Hired podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Fiesta George, and this is a new format for the summer. I'm releasing more content, including video podcast episodes, and I'm excited to welcome you guys to Hot Takes. These are scorching conversations with top business influencers and career coaches and some previous guests that you might have seen on my show before. But we're going to tackle the hottest topics trending in the workplace today. And we're here to serve up spicy nuggets of actionable information that you can digest with ease. And guess what? This summer, this podcast is proudly sponsored by the Spicy Gnome Hot Sauce, which is offering flavor-packed experiences like no other. So if you're ready to buckle up and join us on a flavor-packed journey that will leave your taste buds craving for more, you are at the right place. So I want to welcome you back, my spicy listeners. Today we have a real fire starter with us on the show. I want you guys to meet Brad Smith. He is a business growth consultant extraordinaire. He's a CEO and executive team coach, and Brad is all about helping ambitious CEOs and companies who crave more insight, more for their company, and more from themselves with less effort. So if you're a company that's poised for significant growth, maybe you're aiming for an executive suite culture renovation, or just need an R&D facilitator for magnitude leaps, then Brad is your guy. So if you can, just buckle up. We're going to give you an exciting episode. We're going to dive into developing personas and conquering imposter syndrome. And Brad's going to kind of just guide us through this conversation. So welcome to the Just Get Hired podcast.
Love to be here.
Awesome. I'm so glad we were able to connect. You and I met on LinkedIn, and then we just jumped right in and we're like, let's do a podcast episode together. So I'm excited to have you here on the show, and especially for this format, because I know I'm going to try to get you to come back on another episode probably later this year, if you're down for it.
Absolutely.
All right. So this episode, we're kind of talking about character development to overcome our fears. So what do you mean by that?
Every one of us is built in layers, and the things that stop us from being as successful as we can be, doesn't matter whether it's your personal career or whole business, whatever. It's based in fears that we carry with us that we no longer look at. Sometimes we do look at it. People talk about inner dialogue. Beyond inner dialogue, even if all you think of and work with consciously is positive, we make decisions before we're verbal, right? Before we're the age 2, 3, and certainly before the age of 5. We make decisions about how life is and who we are and who's responsible for us and for as far as our value is concerned. And that limits us. Every time you look at your life, our lives are these big, huge patterns of, oh, I did this, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened through my whole life. And I'm going, well, why does this keep repeating? Because the character is the only one that's the same as me. So I started looking at some of these things really, really early in my life. At age 18, I developed an ulcerated colon. And the doctor said to me when I got to him in December, fall term freshman year at Oregon State, he said to me, gee, Brad, if you'd have waited 6 weeks to come see me, you'd have bled to death.
Oh my gosh.
Right? So he had my attention. Then he said, you'll never eat strawberries, corn, or lettuce, or anything with roughage ever again in your life. My 18-year-old brain said, fat chance, buddy, that's not happening. Because I kind of like those things, right? And then he said, the sentence that changed my life, you have a psychosomatic disease. Your emotions affect the severity of your symptoms. And in that instant, I made the full-on 100% commitment because I knew what psychosomatic meant. It meant I had emotions, and my emotions affected how I was, so bleeding and constant pain. And I was going to conquer it. It was like it didn't matter what it took. I was going to conquer it. So I started in and I watched Brad as a beaker. Well, underneath all of that, over years of watching, yes, I stopped the bleeding. Yes, I got the pain back to where it was intermittent and episodic, if you would. But eventually I got down to a memory still a conscious memory, one of my earliest ones, of my first spanking. And in that first spanking moment, right,
Uh-huh.
in studying me, I realized that I'd put my fear of certain situations into place because after that spanking, didn't matter what the
Mm-hmm.
circumstances were, I went back in with hypnosis at 47. Discovered the issues at 18, tracked it for almost 30 years, and at 47 went back in with hypnosis and rewired that memory. And within a year, all my symptoms were gone. I could use cayenne pepper whenever I wanted.
Right.
Spicy food, right? Whenever I wanted. But what that meant was I knew how to conquer fears. I just had to be deeply self-aware and look at the things that came to me and out of me as a set of patterns. Imposter syndrome, if you would, is just
Mm-hmm.
how we build our self-worth.
Well, you were talking about imposter syndrome, so I mean, imposter syndrome does make us doubt our abilities and our own worth. So I think you were going along the path of like, how do you
So,
combat
got
those
it.
negative thoughts and beliefs?
Okay, when we're born, literally when we're born, we make, maybe not very conscious, but we make a decision, I'm not capable. Then the
Mm-hmm.
second decision we made when we want something is I'm not responsible. These big people are, I'm not,
Right.
right? So I'm not capable, I'm not responsible, track us our whole lives. Well, if you're not capable and you're not responsible, eventually you get around to somewhere in your first year making the decision, I'm not valuable because I can't get what I want when I want it, and I'm not capable of getting it. This crawling thing is a
Mm-hmm.
hard thing, right? So as we learn our way into life, eventually we learn capability. First, we learn crawling, then we learn walking, which in my mind is a profound skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a few of
Oh
us that
yeah.
can't do that, but most of us can walk. If you conquer walking, you can conquer anything in life. Okay? I
Mm-hmm.
want people to understand that. Conquering your fears means going back to that very first three trio of decisions, right? I'm not capable, I'm not responsible, I'm not valuable. And the I'm not valuable decision is our self worth. But how you
Okay.
conquer that is you go back into the second one, I'm responsible. Once you choose responsibility, that's kind of becoming an adult, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um, once we choose to be responsible, then we choose to learn capability. And how we learn and prove to ourselves we're capable is being aware and validating that we do. It's like, oh, I can move my hand. That means I'm capable of moving my hand, right?
Right.
Maybe, right? So capability is the core of how we view it. And when we validate in a conscious way that we've learned capability, then we know that we're worthwhile. And
Okay.
that's the evolution of conquering fears: self awareness,
Mm-hmm.
conscious choice, and making sure that we're present in validating how we are capable of doing things. Brilliant, huh?
Well, yeah.
I think it's a great
Hey,
design.
that's mind-blowing stuff right there. It sounds like, you've got a success story because you were able to realize your fears and you found a way to overcome them. And I'm glad that you're in better health right now. But can you share maybe an inspiring tale of someone who maybe created a powerful persona or conquered their fears so that they could achieve professional success?
Yes, I have a few. Um, One of my favorite ones. This is the one that woke me up. I had
Okay.
a client. I met him at a meeting. Right, he already had a coaching group that he was part of, and I talked him into at least letting me share some of my ideas with him. So we sat down. We had a good talk. He hired me to coach him, and over the next, so when I met him, his company made $3.5 million a year the previous year. By the end of that first year that I'd worked with him, started in February, by the end of the first year we'd worked together, He was at 6.5 million. Okay, we doubled the
Okay.
size of his company. Then the following year, we added another 3 something million, so he was at 9.5 million. The following year, then he was at 12.8 million, something like that. And then we stopped working, and
Mm-hmm.
he took all the things that I taught him and rebuilt the processes inside the company. We'd done a bunch of that already. He improved the profitability of the company by a factor of five. Five. He quintupled the profit margin
Wow.
and went to
Amazing.
13.3. I was really proud of him.
Yeah, that's
So
a great
he,
success story.
he'd conquered it.
Well, I know you have a very successful coaching business, and I will have all of the links for everyone to be able to find you in case they're interested in meeting you, speaking to you, and understanding, how you can help them as well. But I think we covered a lot in our short time together. So, is there anything coming up in your world? Anything you want to promote really quickly? I'll put the links in my show notes. But anything you want to add?
Eventually, I will produce a book, probably a year from now. So we'll get back before that happens.
Okay, I will probably have you back for that then too.
I have a class that I teach because the core of both invention and great, great success is intuition. And that is not a biological skill, it's a combination of who you are as a being and how your body is wired. I have a class that I teach
Okay,
that's called Deep Intuition Masterclass. It's on my
awesome.
website. Go to my website, look at the videos, make a decision.
Awesome. Well, these hot takes are quick episodes getting hot takes on hot topics that are impacting the workplace today. So these episodes are going to pop up and you can listen to this on your favorite platform, or you can go back and watch these videos on Spotify and YouTube. So if you're ready to spice up your life and your career, visit spicygnome.com and then visit justgethired.com, which is my website. And that has all the details of who I am, what I do, and all of the guests that have been on the show. If you aren't already following me on LinkedIn, find me by searching my full name, Jessica Fiesta George. Also, look up Brad, he's there as well. I'm on Instagram, Just Get Hired. Follow me there. Brad, thank you so much for being a part of the Just Get Hired podcast.
It's fun. Thank you.
Awesome. I'll catch you guys on my next episode.